see the difference that having poor personal health makes to us on an individual level. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to, just clarify and illustrate, the impact that, being sedentary, makes to us. So generally, there is a relationship between physical inactivity and musculoskeletal health problems. So basically, generally, when you're less healthy, you're more likely to incur various health conditions, negative health conditions. And I have a few statistics that I want to read out as well, especially from this local area in Enfield. So there was a research done in 2018, and what it showed was that 26% of people in Enfield do less than 30 minutes of any sort of activity per week. And that's a pretty high statistic. So 26% of every single person in this area only does 30 minutes of exercise per week. Only 5% of residents in Enfield use a bike for travel, only 5%. And also only 18% of residents in Enfield are walking 5 times a week. So in my opinion, those statistics kind of clarify, sedentary behavior and the health inequalities that come with this area. Also, diabetes prevalence is quite high in the borough of Enfield, so 1 in 14 people have diabetes. And the overweight and obesity statistics in Enfield is actually 61%. So again, I think, in my opinion, these statistics are quite high, and there's obviously a lot of room for improvement. On a national level, it's not great either. So 1 in 3 people nationally, so 67.4 million people living in the UK. Nationally, 1 in 3 people have a musculoskeletal condition, and normally it's something like arthritis or back pain. Pretty high statistics. And again, nationally, 62% of us are either overweight or clinically obese. So yeah, those stats are pretty high. So just to summarize, obviously we're here talking about climate change and sustainability. Obviously there are clear links between increased carbon output and sedentary behavior, but there's also clear links between sedentary behavior and physical health problems. And that's where I think we can make a huge difference in this area. So the more people we can get through our doors, I think the more difference we can make in terms of helping people to become healthier. Over to you.
In combating this sedentary behaviour and lifestyle that a lot of us are tending to live. In trying to combat this sedentary lifestyle that a lot of us are living and are developing a lot of those habits, a very key solution, and it's very easy, effective, can be done by anyone. All you have to do, exercise, physical activity. Doing any of that is just enough to help. In terms of people and how they are tending to live and the lifestyle that's going on with a lot of people now, often it's seen that exercise and physical activity is neglected as a part of people's lifestyles. Like, people feel as though they can't fit it within their schedules, it takes up too much time, it's often quite difficult to start. But in actual reality, exercise or even just doing simple physical activity is very easy to start, very easy to get going. It's recommended that you do 2.5 hours of exercise a week. 2.5 hours of exercise a week. That can be done through something as simple as walking, cycling, rather than taking a car, particularly for short journeys where you're going to like the shop down the road. It's a 10-minute drive, 20-minute walk. You might as well walk. You're cutting down on carbon emissions, you're cutting down on greenhouse gas pollutions, and it helps better not only your health but also the environment. In terms of some key facts as well, did you know that a single person who switches from a 20-mile commuting alone by car journey to public transport can reduce the annual CO2 emissions by £20 per day? More than £48,000 in a year. That's equal to a 10% reduction in all greenhouse gases produced, typically by 2 adults at a time. Did you also know that those who switch to just one trip per day from car driving to cycling reduce their carbon footprint by 0.5 tons over a year? You can see how big the changes are, and you can see why exercise is such a great solution. And not only does it help in terms of the environment, but it also helps in terms of our health. Thank you.
And before we finish, I just wanted to list kind of the main benefits of exercise, because I think a lot of people don't really understand the detail as to what the benefits are. And I think a lot of the general public don't always read the statistics. So let me give you an example. So obviously, we're all probably aware, you know, exercise helps us to maintain a sensible weight. I just want to make it a bit interactive. Can you raise your hand if you exercise more than 1.5 hours per week? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's like 80%. That's better than I thought. So we're the good ones in here. That's really good. That's really good, right? So let me list our benefits, the benefits that we're getting that, again, the local community should aim to achieve. So sensible weight, like I mentioned, improved joint lubrication. So when you have improved joint lubrication and you maintain your joints really well, if you do have arthritis, you're more likely to manage your symptoms better. And if you don't have arthritis, you're less likely to get it, right? Exercise improves your insulin sensitivity. So anybody who's diabetic would be aware that, you know, if your insulin's not working properly, you're more likely to be type 2 diabetic. Exercise can help to improve your insulin sensitivity. It makes a huge difference to that. Improved blood flow to the brain. So if you have increased blood flow to the brain, you're less likely to have a stroke in later years, and evidence has shown you're less likely to have dementia or Alzheimer's disease, for example. Improved blood flow to the heart, so you're less likely to have a heart attack if you exercise regularly. And then finally, for our mental health, management of cortisol and enhanced endorphins. So you improve your mental health. Just from my personal experience, when I exercise, I always feel better. Like you, I cycle. So I cycle from Islington. It's quite a long distance for most people. I'm not saying that we all have to cycle long distances, but you know, if you do your bit, and when I say do your bit, literally 30 minutes a day, doesn't have to be cycling. It can be just a brisk walk. If you have a dog, I recently got a dog beginning of this year, and he's made me walk a lot more, so I'd highly recommend that as well. So yeah, just do anything you can to take as much personal responsibility for your health as possible, and it makes a huge difference in so many different ways. So yeah, that's what I wanted to end with.